Hello?
Yes, hello.
Cuz, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm just fucking with you.
Okay. Okay. I think I had sent you something about my update with my fissure.
Wait, are we getting started right now?
Oh, well, you told me.
We gotta get this started right.
Okay.
It's time to start the podcast. The number 2 podcast. We're cousins and we're family and we're just talking stuff about our lives to each other so we can stay in touch. Your family and your family when you're here with us on the number 2 podcast. And we're just talking fun. We're talking about our lives and we're talking about the stuff that bothers us and it bothers you too. Cuz help me out.
No.
Anytime now. It's time to listen to the number 2 podcast with the number 2 cousin. She's gonna write some lyrics for this one day and then I'll have to stop making up my lyrics as we go. I'm gonna stop making up these lyrics as we go on number 2 podcast. No, because you're not helping at all. All right. That's all I got. I'm running out of steam.
That was good.
No.
I know, that was good. Cuz, are you there?
Yeah, I had to clear my
Okay.
throat.
Oh.
Let me just apologize to everyone for the way I sound. I'm getting over a terrible cold. And as I was telling you earlier, I don't know if colds are getting worse or if I'm just getting weak in my older age because it really knocked me on my ass this week.
I think as we get older, it does affect us more.
Well, thanks a lot, cuz.
I'm sorry. It's just the truth.
I
Think
believe
about
you,
it.
but I believe you, but
When
how
our
about trying?
parents,
Yes.
when our parents get sick, they sound absolutely horrible. And I mean, they're not that much older than us, but they are older.
I'd like to think that they're way older than us.
Well, you know, sometimes some of them don't like to hear that they're older, like, you know.
You talking about your mom?
Maybe. Maybe not.
Well, she's a septuagenarian now, right?
I guess.
No, that means she's in her 70s and she's not in her 70s yet.
Oh. Why did you use that big word on me?
Yeah, so anyway, yeah, your mom's really old.
No, she's not.
Look,
I
because
guess-
she obviously doesn't listen to the show, so we can say whatever the hell we want to about her.
No, because my mom would listen to the show. She just wouldn't listen to the entire show. So this piece she'd probably hear and then get upset about and say, I'm not listening to this.
All right, tell you what, Aunt Mary, keep listening, and at the end of the show, I'll apologize for what I just said. But if you want to hear that apology, you have to wait till the end of the show. Now watch, I'm going to forget to apologize.
Oh, that's too funny.
No, you had some updates, cuz. What's going on?
I did. I do have some updates, and I wasn't sure how to take it initially. As you know, those that have been listening to the show, I have an anal fissure,
And that means you go fishing in your anus, right?
I got a hook caught apparently, and it tore part of. Anyway, there's a tear, and I have been. This past weekend was the absolute worst pain from Sunday through about Wednesday was still bad. Monday, I don't even know how to describe it, but I could not. It was just unbearable. I was like, if I knew that the ER could have done something to help me, I would have gone. But I knew that there was absolutely nothing they can do for me. Anyway, so I ended up turning to drugs. I took a half of a muscle relaxer, and it seemed to help ease up some of the pain. And then I called the doctor, and I, was asking them. I told them that this is what I've done. I've taken a full month of medicine. I actually have to go for a refill. But is there anything else I can do? And she said, well, honestly, it could take up to 4 months. And I'm thinking in my head, there's no way I can last 4 months in pain like this. Tuesday, again, I was in pain. This time it started at work. And I started sweating. I felt nauseous because the pain was just that intense.
So when that happens, what can you do?
I can soak.
So you have to leave work, though.
Yes, but I worked till my normal time that day, which was I normally work from 8 to 3, and that day I was able to leave.
I feel like a complete asshole because I'm talking about I had a bad cold and I went to work and I had a headache and stuff. Now you're talking about a literal pain in your ass that hurts so bad that it makes you nauseous.
Oh, it was bad. Like, it's like you want to find a position to have some relief. And so obviously sitting doesn't help. It didn't provide any type of relief. Standing, I felt like was also putting pressure in that area. So I called the doctor's office back. And normally doctor's offices don't answer. It goes to like a voicemail and you have to wait for the nurse to call you back. But
right.
Thank God they answered. And the nurse, I said, look, I talked to you yesterday. I'm doing everything that you guys are telling me to do. Is there anything else? I said, the pain is just unbearable. Is there something I can take over the counter? Anything else that I can do? Because, I am in some horrible pain. And she's like, I understand. She said, there's this cream, go to Walgreens, buy. That's the only place I can find it. And she's like, are you still using your ointment? I said, well, I have to go pick it up from the pharmacy. And she's like, well, are you applying it with your fingertip? And I said, no, I'm applying it with the applicator that they gave me to use. That's the problem. She said, that's the problem. You're not supposed to be using the applicator.
All right.
You're irritating it more.
How are you supposed to know this? Like, if they give you an applicator, you're like, okay, this must be what I use to apply it. Where are these separate instructions that says, hey, stick your finger up your ass with this stuff on it?
Exactly. But when she said that, instead of me getting upset, kind of like now I'm thinking about it, instead I found some hope and a sense of relief. But also I felt, oh my goodness. So for an entire month.
Wait, hang on. Let me just interrupt you real fast because that's weird because I usually find the sense of relief when the finger comes out of my butt, not before it goes in.
Well, what she said was with me using the applicator, and this is going to get a little detailed, but the applicator is at least, I would say, half an inch, maybe a little bit longer.
Okay.
And it's very, very, small. I was putting that in, and I was squeezing the tube to go in. Okay. And the lady was like, your muscle that has the fissure in it didn't even get the medicine.
Oh.
So not only was I irritating it by inserting that up my butt.
But you weren't medicating it either.
I was not medicating it.
Oh, cuz.
And of course, when she said that, like, these, not just one light bulb, like a whole freaking...
You lit up the street.
Light show was going on in my head. I was like, well, that explains why it hurt so bad after I put the medicine in. Because I was like, I guess it's supposed to hurt. I don't know. And So, you know, I had to share it with some people that I work with, and of course they were like livid. They wanted to call the doctor themselves. No, they're like, that is horrible, unbelievable. Why wouldn't they tell you?
Yeah,
so,
why wouldn't they tell you?
I don't know. So I went to the pharmacy and I picked it up, and the girl's checking me out, and she's putting the stuff in a little bag, and there's the applicator, and I'm like, oh, no.
There'll be no need for this, young lady.
I was like, I do not need that. I said, that was a problem the first month.
Tell her I'm going to apply this the way our parents did with my finger.
So then, okay, so again, I was still in pain. I don't even know how to describe it. It was bad. But since then, I've been better. My issue now is that I haven't had a bowel movement. I didn't have one yesterday, and I haven't had one today. And I'm taking stool softeners, and I went and I bought some Benefiber.
Uh-huh.
And so hopefully that will, and I'm not eating a lot of meat, nothing really heavy, soft, gentle foods. I don't want roughage right now because I don't know if I can handle it. So following the doctor's orders isn't necessarily always the right orders.
Okay.
And you don't know when to challenge them.
Right.
Had I not called, because I'd be doing the same crap.
Well, it's a good thing you made that call.
Yeah, I called 2 days in a row. She didn't even mention that to me the first day when I was like, what else can I do? And then I had to call back the next day and say, I'm in such pain. I don't know what else. There has to be something. So
that made me uncomfortable. Is that can we call that like is that the update? Are we good with the update?
Yeah. That's the update.
Okay, so just to top this off, so you've been using your finger and you can tell a difference?
Oh, almost instantly.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So, anyone else, anal fissure, put your finger up your butt.
With a little bit of cream.
Oh, yeah, that too, obviously. Don't want to raw dog that.
That is so disgusting.
It is. So don't do it.
Oh,
Hey, that's a good public service announcement. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So what else? What else can we talk about that's less uncomfortable?
I think for this week, it kind of for me. I think just making sure that people to me, I do look for excuses and have excuses before I'm motivated to do something that I know damn good and well needs to be done. And not until something hurts, usually that's when, that motivation.
Oh, I thought you meant like motivation to do something, not really taking care of yourself. Well, maybe taking care of yourself, but motivation just to get something done. You're talking about motivation to get your body fixed?
Because it could be either or.
Okay. So
motivation to get stuff done. I mean, it's like not having a job.
All right. So our topic for this week is motivation.
Yeah.
All right. Let's introduce it.
This week's topic is motivation.
Motivation. So are you a Mexican or a Mexicant?
I'm a Mexican.
I'm a Mexican sometimes.
So I was going to say something like that, but I couldn't think of anything in between.
I'm a
Cause what
Mexican
motivates you?
American. What do you think about that? No,
I don't
it's
know.
funny. Just saying the Mexican or a Mexican. Mom was telling me that my niece goes over there sometimes for her to help her with her homework, and when she can't do something, she'll get down on herself. It's like, I can't do it, and Mom will remind her, "What does Uncle say? Are you a Mexican or a Mexican?" And she says, "I'm a Mexican." So the last time this happened, I talked to her a couple of days later, my niece,
Hmm.
and she was telling me about her homework, and she's like, "I'm a Mexican, but sometimes I'm a Mexican." And I was like, "No, mija. Look, I know sometimes things are hard, but you can do it. Just it won't always come right away, and yeah, sometimes you won't do well at first, but just keep trying." So I want her to stay in that mindset that she can and not that she can't.
I agree.
I just thought it was cute that she said, "I'm a Mexican, but sometimes I'm a Mexican." No, no. So your
Agree.
motivation, what were you talking about originally?
Usually things don't start happening. Motivation doesn't kick in until, I hate to say it sometimes, when either it's too late or there's no other option. There's like you just have to. There's no other alternative. You have to make yourself do whatever it is, whether it's your health, which in my case, I really don't want to eat bad anymore because I don't ever want to have to go through any pain like that when it comes to bowel movement.
Okay, so what are you doing to change your diet?
Less meat, less carbs, making sure not only that I drink, I feel like I drink plenty of water anyway, but obviously my body needs some type of, I don't want to say stimulant, but something that's going to help me digest my food that I do eat the right way. Spicy foods, oh my gosh.
No more spicy foods?
Because how much I love salsa.
Yes.
If you don't, I really do.
Yeah, so do I. But at some point, salsa didn't like me anymore, so I have to be careful with it.
Yep, and that's me too. And, these are things that I knew and probably was told before too, hey, don't eat so much or don't drink so much or don't do this or do that, whatever. But not until I've experienced something bad myself has that motivated me.
Well,
and I guess I don't want to wait for bad things to happen for me to be motivated anymore.
Well, good. But also when we were growing up, the rest of the family was pretty fat, and you were always a thin one, so you had like a great metabolism, so you could eat pretty much whatever you wanted. Are you telling me that that's finally catching up to you?
No.
Fuck. I hate you.
Because it's not a metabolism. I didn't understand why I was like skin and bone. I was just super skinny and small. But my mom told me that actually when I was about, I want to say two or younger, I got sick. And I was a chubby baby. And, whatever sickness it was, I had lost a lot of weight. And since then, I had stayed small. Now, I don't have a good metabolism because I feel like if I eat a donut, I've gained 5 pounds. If I eat things, I can hear it in my head. If you eat this, you know what it's going to do to you.
Well, here's my secret. I've eaten so much that I don't think my body can physically carry any more weight, so I can eat whatever I want and not gain a pound because I've gained all the pounds I can possibly gain.
That's horrible. No.
Is it? Think about it. No, that's horrible. Yes, it's totally horrible. In fact, I think I've actually gained more weight.
Because you did so good. You can do it again.
Well, it comes back to motivation. And right now, I don't know. I'm telling you, because there's some sort of mental, and I know I know the physical block, I'm fucking lazy.
Yeah.
The mental block, because I want to do all this, but there is something mentally that is stopping me, and I don't know what that is. I think I've told on this podcast that several years ago when I was living in Kansas, I got into jiu-jitsu. And it started off, it was like an evolution. I had read an article about a guy who took a boxing class, and he's talking about what a great workout it was and how it built up his confidence. So I was like, hey, that's a good idea. I need to do that. My confidence is low. I need to exercise. So I found a gym and started taking just like boxing fitness classes, not actual. I never got to hit anybody. Nobody hit me back. But they led from the boxing fitness classes to kickboxing fitness classes to actual kickboxing and sparring and getting my head punched in. And from that, my teachers suggested I take jiu-jitsu, and he was like, you'll like it more. You won't get your face punched in. I'm like, okay. And I started doing that, and I fell in love with it. And I did it hardcore for just over a year, like maybe 15, 16 months. And the weight just fell off of me because it was such hard work. And even though it was so hard, it was a different type of workout. It was fun. There was a certain camaraderie that was built up between the guys. And anyone who doesn't know, who isn't familiar with jiu-jitsu, when you watch it, it looks like just two guys rolling around on the floor. But there's a lot of artistry in the movement. It's a martial art, so I think of it as an art as well. There's a lot of thinking that goes involved in trying to set up these moves to trap your opponent. And because you're moving around, you're not only moving your body weight, sometimes there's the body weight of an entire person on you that you have to build up strength to manipulate them to get them off of you. And it was just so much fun. And yeah, it was painful a lot, but there's something weird. That pain becomes addictive sometimes. So like, even though you might get hurt, you're like, oh man, there's a rush to that. And you just power through it and keep going. I wasn't always like that. I was probably, of all the people there, I was probably the biggest wuss. But, even with that being said, I still push myself harder than I ever pushed myself. And I have to thank that not only for building my confidence and losing weight and looking better and feeling better, although during the midst of my jiu-jitsu training, I was tired all the time because I trained so much. In fact, there were times when I think I overtrained, but it built up my confidence. I felt safer just as a person in the world because not that I was a tough guy who could just, win any fight, but I was like, okay, if something happens, I know a few things that I might be able to buy enough time for me to get to safety or whatever. But beyond that, like it built a confidence in me just in the rest of the world. Like I believed in myself because I knew I was capable of doing things that I couldn't do before. And it also made me recognize that I'm actually really competitive. I never thought of myself as competitive because everything I ever competed in was physical, and I was not a physical person. So I lost all the time. And I don't want to say I got used to losing. I just got used to being okay with not winning. And I was like, well, winning isn't everything. All the things that losers say. It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. Well, when you start winning in a one-on-one physical competition, you're like, oh my goodness, I beat this person who is because you're at the competitions and stuff, you're set up with people who are within your weight range, and I was already of a certain age, so they were within my age range. And I was like, okay, this is someone who's pretty well matched with me. We're pretty equal as far as weight and age and stuff goes. And when you start winning stuff like that, you're like, oh my goodness, this feels good. This is an earned victory. This isn't like somebody who just gave up and was who doesn't like to compete. This isn't somebody who's like, okay, this doesn't mean anything, because it means something to everybody. Otherwise, you wouldn't have paid the money to be there.
Right.
And it felt great. I was like, oh my goodness, winning feels good. So I felt competitive nature reach into other parts of my life. But now it's fading.
Does that not motivate you right now? It's motivating me.
Well, I
want to go beat somebody's ass.
No, it's not about beating somebody's ass, although it did feel good.
I want to go sparring.
Well, yes and no. It motivates me, but like when I start moving and I realize how much of that I've lost physically, like you have to be pretty flexible to get in certain positions in jiu-jitsu. And I never achieved the flexibility I needed for a lot of the stuff I wanted to do, but I was pretty flexible, especially for a fat guy. Now, like, all that flexibility is gone. All that joint mobility is gone. I get winded coming up the stairs at my house. And that discourages me. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I need to work out to build up to this. But then I go outside and it's like 90-something, 100 degrees outside. And I'm just thinking to myself, fuck this. I'm going inside before I die.
Yeah, well, honestly, it just sounds like a lot of excuses. And you already know, the consequences. And, I mean, I wouldn't expect you to go outside, when it's 100 degrees. I don't think health-wise it would be safe. And I don't think your goal is to go outside and during the hottest part of the day and try to work out or do anything like that.
It's not, but I have to mow the lawn today, so that's going to happen anyway.
Yeah,
if you don't hear back from me later, just call and check on me.
I mean, just like if you, I'm not saying to do this, but I mean, just think, okay, if you know you got to mow the lawn once a week, mow it twice a week. Mow it, before the 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. I mean, I don't know when it really starts getting hot, because here it feels like once the sun comes up, that's it. But, I mean, I think just little steps will make a difference. And because it's not going to take much. You feel discouraged, but I would feel more discouraged by knowing that I could be at work and falling over having a heart attack, or, wanting to pass out because I can't breathe or something. That's the motivation.
Speaking of breathing, I breathe so heavy now.
Because that's so not good.
I know. Look, you want to hear my theory of motivation?
What?
All right, it's like motivation and discipline and stuff like that all mixed in. And it's something I've been working out in my mind to try and get myself to do stuff. And I think, all right, I have the motivation, but whatever that mental hurdle is preventing me from turning that motivation into something more tangible, something that I'm actually doing. And part of that is discipline. I lack discipline in a lot of areas. Now, I mean, as someone who has sacrificed a lot, I'm still a fat guy, but like I've given up sodas.
That's really good.
Yeah, that was back in 2006. So 11 years, I've been soda free, except for one experiment, which confirmed all the reasons why I gave up sodas. And I gave up alcohol a few years ago. So that was never a huge problem for me, but it's still not great. Yeah, it's not.
I have to give that up too.
Okay,
I'm not give it. Work on it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So I gave that up. Oh, after that, I gave up other sugary drinks because I would still drink like the fake fruit juice stuff, the sports drinks and stuff like that. So I ended up giving up those too. Now the only sugary drink I drink on occasion is orange juice, and that's every now and then, not all the time. Like I got sick right now, and one of the things I do when I get sick is I buy some orange juice because I feel like the extra vitamin C might be helping me out. But even if it's not, usually by the time I finish the orange juice, I feel a lot better. So whatever's going on, either it's just the amount of time it takes
to comfort drink.
Yeah, all right. And then sometimes when I visit mom, she'll have it. So, but that's a rare occasion. I mean, it's rare that I drink anything sweet. So mostly what I drink is water. Like almost always what I drink is water. But the biggest thing that I have had trouble giving up has been junk food. And it's so convenient. And I've thought about phasing out like restaurant at a time, but that seems like it would take too long. But, even if I had started a year ago, I might be narrowed down to just 2 or 3 restaurants that are around me that I could start phasing out. But my theory about like motivation and discipline is just to create habits. Just start with a couple of good habits And once you have those habits formed, you can move on to more habits to add on to it. And then next thing you know, you have a discipline. And once you're disciplined, you start to, get closer and closer. I mean, whatever that motivation is, you start getting closer and closer to that goal. But it's forming those habits. And it's hard to form habits when you're lazy like I am and your environment isn't that conducive to creating good habits. So at work, there's a lot of free snacks. And
I can relate to that.
Yeah, and I don't make my lunch, which I need to start doing because I like to get out of the office for an hour a day just to kind of decompress, get away from stuff. So in order for me to keep doing that, I go out to eat at lunch. That's not always cheap, but whatever. And then I come back and, if I get snackish later because I still have 5 hours left in the workday, I'm going to hit up those free snacks. They have some quote unquote healthy snacks over there, but when you read the ingredients, it still comes down to sugar and other stuff that you're not supposed to put in your body. So again, all excuses, but if I can start building the habit of, all right, cut out those snacks, start making my own snacks, I can cut up like carrots or celery or some BS like that and start bringing it. But that means I have to go grocery shopping more. And I haven't been grocery shopping in about a month because I've been eating out for almost every meal. So basically, my theory is, cuz what am I supposed to do? I need somebody to come take care of me.
No.
You know what? I'm going to go find a wife. She'll take care of me.
Well, you could do that. But, I mean, no. Because one step at a time, and you have it played out. It sounds like you have the process pretty much down. You know exactly what needs to be done. And don't wait till something messes up to stop. And I think you've had a situation before with your gallbladder.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. Don't wait for it to happen again. Don't wait. It's just, just think of all the things that go along with that. Let's say it happens again. Let's say you have to have emergency surgery, and this time they can't put it off. And you're forced to have surgery. You're forced to be off of work for a while. You're forced to stay in your room for a while. And you don't have a wife yet. Let's say you don't find her yet to take care of you. What's going to happen? And I'm not trying to be like, negative Nancy here or Debbie Downer.
Hey, who invited those bitches to the party?
I know. I'm trying to find the motivation. Those things can lead us sometimes to motivation.
Okay, so what's been your biggest motivation?
Honestly, I have to say here recently is I used to think that, because, when I cook for Luis, I could probably cook healthier by changing up the techniques or the way I cook the food. And I think I have for the most part, but it's still heavy meat, greasy, refried, things like that. And I was making excuses like I can't cook, this good, healthy, this bad, but so good tasting food for him. And then me, whip up a salad or something and eat. And I'm like, oh, I want that. So what's motivated me recently is, Loopy, my sister, has been on a diet or changing her eating habits.
Yeah, she's on a ketogenic diet, which is a low-carb, high-fat diet. I'm pretty interested in that myself. I've been looking into it, but I still don't have enough information yet. Yeah,
she's been doing that, and she's done really well. I think she's lost close to 40 pounds.
That's awesome.
I know, and she's, in the beginning, I know she was doing some workouts, but workouts right there at home, like jump roping and things, walking, things like that.
Yeah, and when I was working out, jump roping was a big cardio boost, so that's an excellent exercise.
Yeah. Well, Isabel, Loopy was, talking to Isabel because Isabel had gained some weight, and Isabel's my oldest child. And in the beginning, I discouraged her, not because I didn't want to see her do something. It's just I felt like for an 18-year-old, maybe it would be too much for her body. Like, I was trying to compare Loopy's age. Loopy's had children. She's working through this to lose weight. Isabel's 18, 15, 20 pounds, doesn't have children. You know what I'm saying? I felt like maybe it was going to be too much on her body.
I have to disagree with you there.
Well, I did. That's what I thought initially. And I said, well, even if you don't, I didn't want to see her get sick or make herself sick by trying to be so strict. But she proved me wrong. She got on it. She meal prepped. She bought her own food. She meal prepped at night for the next day or the next couple of days. And she did it. And in the beginning, she would text me or say, hey, can you help me cook my chicken? And I'm like, okay. So I started thinking, well, gosh, I have to cook for her dad and I'm cooking for her. But it only happened like twice. I only had to show her twice how to cook it before she was able to start on her own. So I think then that was, which it wasn't that long ago. That has been one of my biggest motivations recently. Of course, it's kind of fallen off.
Yeah, because when I would go grocery shopping, I would always buy greens, a pack of carrots, and then the other stuff that I would get, which was, meat. And I would still buy carbs because, excuse me, making spaghetti and meat sauce is real easy because it's like 3 ingredients: spaghetti, buy a jar of sauce, and then a little pack of sausage.
Right,
Cook it all, mix it together, and you got your meal. Now, when you're trying to do something different, like when I would cook the greens and the carrots, I would have to peel the carrots, slice them up, chop them up, get the greens, cook all that together, wait for the carrots to soften up to a certain amount, and then mix in whatever else I was going to be making for that meal. But there was a lot of prep involved with it and a lot of mess to clean up afterwards. And again, like I said, I'm lazy, so I didn't want to have to go through all that. Plus, I live in a house with 4 other people, so, there's the mess I have to consider for them, so I'd have to have it cleaned up within a certain amount of time. And then, if they had started cooking before me, I'd have to wait for them. And how long is it going to take for them to cook and clean up their mess so I can start using the stuff? How long am I going to wait? So I would just be like, forget this. I'm going to go get a hamburger.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. It's easy. Whatever's easiest. And that's the other thing I thought of when, with me being so worried about having to take a crap and not knowing how it was going to come out and how bad it was going to hurt. I was like, I need to get on, I think we talked about it too, like a liquid diet. And I kept thinking, how am I going to get up any earlier to make a smoothie or come home on my lunch and throw something in the blender to, or to open up a can of soup or something and drink the broth or whatever. I've been trying to find the easiest thing. And I know I'll get back on track to be able to get up earlier and do those things. But right now, I'm going to the store and I'm buying these, yogurt smoothie things that are low in fat, low in carbs, low in this, low in sugar, gluten-free.
All right. So all that stuff, you got to be careful with all that. You have to educate yourself. And I've educated myself a little bit. I don't know if you know about this, but a while back, there was an article released by, I think, the Wall Street Journal, that back in the 50s, a lot of these when they were studying like food science and stuff like that, when they were trying to figure out what made you sick and everything, a lot of scientists got paid off by the sugar industry to lie about sugar. All these health things that people think of that are caused, that they think they attribute to fat, like heart attack and high cholesterol and
diabetes.
Well, I mean, yeah, certain stuff. It's actually a lot of that is actually caused by sugar and carbs in your diet. If you have the diet that Loopy's on, high fat, low carb, the fats are really healthy for it. I mean, yeah, there are some fats that are bad for you. You don't want to eat just like a greasy piece of chicken or whatever. You want to have some healthier fats in there. But when we were in school, we learned that fats are stored energy, lipids, So that's when the process of ketosis, the ketogenic diet, is that it converts fat into energy instead of converting carbs into energy, which is what most of us do. So that's why when you eat something real sugary or whatever, you'll have a crash a little bit later because you run out of the carbs that it's burning for energy, and it makes you want to eat more to refuel. Well, whereas fat, you have right now, me anyway, I have a larger source of that. But the thing is, when you eat more fats, it keeps you full longer, and it gives you a better source of energy to burn throughout the day. So when your body's in a ketogenic state, it's burning fat for energy, which is helping you lose weight, instead of using those carbs. Yeah, the source of carbs. So that's why I think it's pretty safe. It might not be something you want to do forever, but it's something that you can go back to every now and then, just to kind of maintain a certain state. But again, I'm still doing research on it. I'm not 100% sure about what I can and can't eat and how I need to prepare that.
Yeah. So, and I'm still, go ahead.
No, and that's why I haven't started it. Plus, I really like carbs.
So do I. Look, because all these foods, I know they say organic and whatever, but for the most part, everything that we eat is pretty much some processed food. And whatever they put in this stuff, I honestly feel like it puts something in our body to crave it and want it more.
Definitely.
And so we just keep, we want it more, we want it more, we want it more, and then it turns into, however many pounds later. Add being a woman on top of that.
I'd rather not.
Where our hormones and we're PMSing and, it's like, I don't even know how to freaking describe, like there's a switch that comes on that we don't have any control over. There's this little something that is turned on in our bodies, in our head, and it tells us, you need chocolate. You want something sweet. You need something bad. And it can last for a week to 2 weeks.
Oh, my goodness.
Every freaking month. What do you do to fix that shit?
Well, you can have someone else's poop injected into your stomach.
Oh, gosh.
It's a real process I heard about. Check this out. So you know how how your body has bacteria and stuff like that. There's good bacteria, bad bacteria.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, the gut flora, the bacteria in your stomach, if it's bad bacteria, it will crave those sugars and things like that. So one of the things that some people have tried, and I think have actually had some success with, is they'll take poop from another person, a healthy person's body, like from their stomach or whatever. I don't know if they actually poop it out, but and it has that healthy bacteria in them, and they'll inject it into someone who is unhealthy, and it will actually, that bacteria will start to flourish and like kill out the bad bacteria and take over, and you'll lose some of those cravings, and your gut flora will be in a healthier state, and you'll start craving the healthier foods and stuff like that. That seems really extreme to me. I'd be scared to try something like that. In fact, I wouldn't want to try something like that. But it makes you think, like, okay, I have bad stuff inside of me that is forcing me to crave this other bad stuff because that's how it wants to survive, and it survives on these bad things. So you have to look for a way of introducing healthier things that will fight that off like probiotics. So you were talking about getting yogurt earlier. Make sure you get yogurt that still has cultures, living cultures inside of it. Like I know one of them is called acidophilus. That way you're introducing good bacteria into your body. If it's not in the yogurt, you can buy supplements. I've bought bottles of acidophilus before, and I've taken it for a little while, and I've forgotten it in the refrigerator, and it just became another bottle in the door of the refrigerator. But it is something to think about and keep in mind when you're trying to make a healthier change in your life and in your diet. So keep that in mind. Yeah.
Actually, I just went to the store yesterday and bought some, I think I told you, the Benefiber.
Yeah.
But they had the probiotic stuff, too, that was there. Oh, well, motivation sucks sometimes. No, I shouldn't say that. Self-motivation.
Yeah, it does. Let me see what the dictionary says about motivation. Motivation. The reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. The general desire or willingness of someone to do something.
So just it's our willingness.
Yeah. The mind is willing, but the body is weak.
I think the body is willing, the mind is weak.
Speak for yourself. No, that actually probably describes me better.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm into a lot of self-help stuff because I don't know where else to turn. I can't afford to pay someone else to help me. And one, there's a lot of different mantras and sayings and stuff to help motivate people. Excuse me. And one of the ones that I've heard that I really like is, well, it's two variations on it. It's lead the body and the mind will follow. So if you make yourself do something, then your mind will eventually expect to start doing it, and just, it'll just become something that you do. And the other is lead the mind and the body will follow. So like if you keep telling yourself to do something, then eventually you'll start doing it.
Eventually your body will.
And this was on a self-help thing with for confidence. So it was like, just pretend that you're confident, and then eventually you will just be confident. Or the other example was, use confident body language, and eventually your mind will start accepting that, okay, you are confident. This is how you're supposed to stand or sit or whatever. That was the examples of, it was a podcast on how to pick up women.
Oh. I found something, a motivational quote online, but I'm not going to read the entire thing.
Thank you.
But as opportunity comes to those who thinks about success, the secret of success is to know something nobody else knows. Plan to succeed, and you will succeed with your plan. Education is a light, but does not guarantee your success in life. If you want to succeed, you need to do something about yourself. Successful people will work smart, while the poor people will work hard. Because the successful people do different things. That is why they get different results. Well, slap me silly.
I don't know. There sounded like there was a little bit of BS in there. But I will say, hard work is a part of it. And there are parts of my life where I work really hard, and other parts that I need to work harder.
Because I think it's working smarter, not harder.
Why can't you work smart and hard?
You can. You can.
Here, I'll tell you something that's embarrassing that I hate to admit, but I think it's the truth. So, the truth will set you free, as they say. I was a good student in school. Can we agree on that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A good student, so much so that people just call me smart because I made good grades. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you think differently, you can say I wasn't smart.
No, you were smart.
I was smart. not anymore, but I was. No, so based on my
you
grades.
are very.
No. I'm not.
You are very book smart.
Oh, thanks, cuz. That's a real nice compliment. That's not backhanded at all. No, but based on my grades, I know. Based on my grades, people said I was smart, and I started to believe that. I was like, yeah, I'm smart. I went to college, I graduated. All right, man, I've done everything I'm supposed to do. Now, the good life is going to hit me because I made good grades. I graduated, had a high GPA when I graduated. Bring on the money, bring on the high-paying jobs, and nothing ever came of it. I stayed at the same job that I had when I was in school. And I stayed there for 11 years, and it's because I never really applied myself. I never really went after those jobs because I was expecting them to come to me because, hey, man, I'm smart, and I made good grades. I got a high GPA. What else do I need to do? I've done everything I'm supposed to do. No, you got to get out there and fight for it. You got to get out there and work for it, which brings me back to jiu-jitsu, the competitive nature. If I had that in my life more when I was younger, I might be farther along in this career that I'm trying to be in now. But I discovered it late in life. I went back to school with that competitive mindset in mind, and now I have a pretty decent job. And I feel like if I continue to work hard at this, which I'm making that effort, I think I'm working hard in this particular direction of my life. And I think it's going to lead me to better places. I just wish, oh God, how I wish I would have done that when I was younger.
Yeah. Because I think.
You know what it was, though?
That's probably what.
I didn't have proper motivation.
Yeah, but
See what I did there?
You have, yeah.
I brought it back full circle.
You're blaming the past.
No.
No, I'm just kidding. My pillow fell. Yes, we had self-motivation. But we could be sitting having another podcast in 5 years.
I hope so.
Be talking about the same motivational things.
Well, look, okay.
That would not be cool.
All right, so this is a perfect example. All right, so when I graduated school, I went to school for filmmaking. I wanted to make movies.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be Robert Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he set a career path that I was like, oh my goodness, that's the same thing I want to do. Except here's the difference. He made a bunch of movies before he started making movies professionally. He used his family, and you know, he was writing and directing his own short films in his backyard and whatnot. I'm going to tell a story about myself because I like talking about myself, so bear with me on this.
Okay.
So while I was in school studying film to be a filmmaker, I was working at a very big electronics store, had a huge discount on certain things, so I bought a digital camcorder. I built my own computer, and I got my hands on some video editing software. And I had everything I needed to make short films. The only thing I didn't have were like scripts and actors. But again, Robert Rodriguez, if I followed his path, he used his family. I had a pretty decent sized family. He would write his scripts. I tried writing scripts. I was never happy with anything I wrote, so I quit writing. And ask me how many movies I made from a teenager to, I don't know. All right, let's say up until the point when I started what I consider now my real career. How many movies do you think I made from late teens working at that electronics store when I got all that equipment to, I don't know, I guess that was a span of 18 years?
I'm going to go with 4.
I think I made 2.
That was close.
Yeah, you were close, but that's a really low number. In 18 years to make 2 shorts. And they weren't even like real shorts. They were more like trailers.
Mm-hmm.
There was one short I remember, and the other one was more of a trailer form. And all that time was wasted just because I was too scared or too lazy or too whatever to not do it.
It was not wasted.
No, it was. I had everything I needed. I could have been practicing all those years, and I didn't.
know, but what can you do about it now?
Well, no, nothing. I'm just saying. I'm trying to. This is for anyone who's listening. don't waste that time. Don't be afraid. Don't be lazy. If there's something you want to do, you're going to have to do it yourself. So,
oh, okay, there you go.
yeah.
There you go.
So cut to,
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah. So cut to a few years ago when I started, I was in college again because I've decided, okay, this is not the career I was in at the post office. I'm like, this is not what I want to do the rest of my life. I'm not happy here. I need to make a change. So that was my motivation to go back to school. And while I was in school, I met people and I made some friends, and we decided to start our own production company. That hasn't worked out quite as well as we wanted to, but that was part motivation for me making the videos I make on YouTube. While they're not scripted narrative films, again, it's just, they're video blogs. It's like my life, but it gives me practice. I get to edit now. So now I think I'm a better editor than I was before I started those. And because I'm a creative person, at least I feel like I'm a creative person. It's, that's a desire of mine. My friend started a podcast and it motivated me. It's like, hey, look, that looks like fun. I think I can do that. You talked about this a while back. I'm like, okay, let's do a podcast. Let's do it for real. So now I forced myself, or I motivated myself to get this equipment, learn how to use it, and had to work harder on you to motivate you to keep doing this. But now we have a podcast.
There we go.
Yeah.
And this is an update from a Facebook post, but I think it ties in perfect with.
Do we have some Facebook news?
Yeah, we can do that now. Yeah. This is a live update of Facebook post. This one just so happens to tie in, I think, perfect with our motivational topic for today. A bad attitude is like a flat tire. If you don't change it, you'll never go anywhere. What do you think of that, Cuz?
Yeah, attitude has a lot to do with it. I had a bad attitude when I was a kid. I was an angry young man. I didn't always express my anger. I think I internalized it a lot. Oh my goodness, maybe that's why I'm so fat. Or maybe not. I might have just liked to eat.
No, you know what? And this is not to get on anything, but I truly feel like the eating habits in this family, in our family, the way we were brought up and the way we had family gatherings and the food, looking back now, it was a good time for us to be together.
Yeah.
And it's sad that our family was brought up to have food as a center of our unity, to me, I think.
Well, I think that's also cultural. I think that's food is a big part of the Mexican culture.
Mm-hmm. And I do agree. But now when I look back, and seeing the serving plates and the amount of food that's put out, it's bad. It's really, really bad. Not only because now people in our family, due to health issues, they can't eat as much as they used to.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we can still have a food-centric culture, but we just have to choose healthier food. We have to, like I said, I'm trying to educate myself now on a better diet. We all just need to educate ourselves.
Yeah. And it's so much food goes to waste. And this is going to sound weird, and I know it's getting kind of close to our time, but we've several times have been to Mexico, and we were talking about this the other day, the kids and I, that last year we went way deep down and to visit Luis's aunt, and they live in just way down into Mexico. Anyway, so we're there, and we visit, and she has cooked some food, and she pulls out a small, maybe a quart size, maybe half of that, plate of like rice, and then a small bowl of beans. And she sits us down, and it's just the kids and I, because Luis was outside talking to his uncle. And it was so good that I had to tell the kids, you can't have any more. Because not only was this wasn't the first time that we've been to someone else's house in Mexico, or even here with the Mexican culture, the real, not Tex-Mex or Tejano culture, but the actual Mexican culture. The food is so good, but they only put out a small amount.
Yeah. But
once we were through, and I was like, oh, we can't have no more. There's not enough. There's not going to be enough food. And so, luckily, they didn't, understand English, so they wouldn't, because that would be quite offensive, I think.
Right.
If they heard us say, we can't eat no more because there's not enough food. But it was so filling, and it was so good just with that. And I've come to realize that sometimes what we see with our eyes, we think we have to eat all that, or we see a little bit of food and it's not going to be enough. But
I'm definitely like that.
But we're like, it is. It's plenty.
You've heard me order when I'm in a fast food line. I could probably cut that order in half and be satisfied with it long enough.
Yes. Yes. That's a good point. Instead of maybe start eliminating one thing that you...
Hey, you shut your mouth. I haven't had breakfast yet.
I know. Me neither. I'm getting hungry.
Hey, because I don't want to cut off what you're saying, but I have more Facebook news.
You do?
Yeah. I'm just so flustered I can't even get the words out. And now I'm choking. Hang on. Say something.
Say something. I'm giving up on you.
Okay, you said nothing. Thank you. But my Facebook news is why can't I fucking say this word? Dead Bigfoot confirmed at Elephant Butt Lake, New Mexico. Because there's evidence now. There's even a picture of a body on the beach covered in plastic. You can't identify anything. All right. This is one of those Donald Trump fake news stories, obviously, because Bigfoot doesn't die from infection. You have to fight him. Who posted this?
Dead Bigfoot confirmed. There's more than one posting.
What?
Breaking news 365.net and mysterioussearth.net.
Oh, here's a picture. More Facebook news. I'm looking at a picture. Here's someone who didn't age well. I'll give out her name. Martha. Martha.
Is she a dancer too?
I've seen her dance, and I'm going to say no. Just not so like I can let people in on the inside joke. I'm teasing my ex-sister-in-law.
That's funny.
Yeah, she doesn't listen to this. Oh, you know what? We should send her a link so she can listen to this. I got no more Facebook news.
I don't either. Everything else is just kind of like people sharing their lives.
That's boring. All right, so let's end this segment of Facebook news.
Till next time.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on the Facebook news. All right.
Well, because I think it's also that time.
Time for what?
It's that time to say goodbye.
It is, but before we go, don't we have some recommendations to make?
Yes.
All right, so our recommendations for the week. Before you make your recommendations, because I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I have the biggest smile on my face when I get to play those stupid sounds. I love it. All right, so what's your recommendation? I'm sorry, what are you saying?
No, I think it makes it, fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
I'm smiling too.
So what's your recommendation this week?
I have a movie recommendation. The Shack.
That looks so boring.
It's not boring. It's inspirational to me.
It looks like the kind of movie that is trying to make you cry.
Yeah, it is kind of one of those. But I think the whole moral, the whole point of it, I think it ties into motivation.
Okay.
So that's my movie for the week recommendation.
You're not going to tell people a little bit about what it's about?
It's about a man.
Why should I watch this? Why should I watch this movie? How about that question?
One, you're struggling with motivation.
All right. It's about a man.
It's about a man that's having difficulties accepting.
He can't get an erection.
A tragic life. Having difficulties accepting a tragedy and not feeling
His kid dies?
Yes.
I saw that in the trailer. All right, so a kid dies. I don't want to watch a movie about a dead kid.
No, it's not about a dead kid. It's just, it has to do with his childhood, to the event of his child, losing his child, to letting go, and just, there's still other things in life he has to live for.
Okay. So I saw part of this. They were watching it at my brother's party a few weeks ago. And the visual effects in this movie are so terrible. It looks like the kind of stuff that I was doing when I was in school. As some people may not know, I'm a visual effects artist, commonly known in the industry as the VFX Mex, because I'm Mexican and I make visual effects.
And he's a Mexican.
Yeah. When I was graduating and I was trying to brand myself as the VFX Mex, some of my teachers didn't want me to do that. And I fought them. I don't know. They thought it might limit my job opportunities. And I fought them on it, and I won that battle because I still went with the VFX Mex. But the one that I lost that they would not let me do, because VFX is shorthand for visual effects. And since I was the VFX Mex, I wanted my tagline to be, I make visual effects. They fought me on that and won. So, yeah, so I was just the VFX Mex, no visual effects.
Oh, gosh. That's too funny. Well, okay.
All right, no, VFX aside, you recommend the movie. I might watch it.
I recommend the movie, not so much to critique its effects, because that's your field. I mean, that's like me working in customer service and going off and expecting great customer service.
Hey, cuz, if you're going to insult a major restaurant, how about you don't call them by name?
Oh. You're going to go into a restaurant that has a big arch.
It might have a couple of big arches. It might not. It might just be one. It might be called McDowell's. They might have a Big Mick.
It might be called Mac. Anyway, you can't watch movies because we're not watching Star Wars or Spider-Man would you watch Jaws and criticize their special effects?
Yeah, a lot of people have.
That was a movie from before special effects was even special.
I know, and hey, how dare you? No, it's still, in my opinion, it still holds up.
Because it was a great movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie. And they were smart enough not to focus so much on the special effects part.
There you go.
The shark didn't have that much screen time because it didn't work. Anyway, we're getting off track.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
All right.
I'm just saying there are certain things that take me out of movies. In this case, what I saw, the visual effects look like shit. And I'm like, I'm not watching this movie. It insults me, not as a visual effects artist, but as a person with eyes.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
That was my weekly recommendation. What's yours?
That's a terrible recommendation. My recommendation this week. I want to recommend a podcast that I listen to. And it's part inspiration for this podcast and part inspiration, I think, for my recent desire or my recent exploration into the thought of becoming a father. And that podcast is the Super Mamas podcast. It's hosted by two sisters who are Hispanic. They're based in California. And I think kind of like us, it's kind of family oriented. There's adult language on there every now and then, but it's nice to hear another family relationship and see the similarities, even though we're miles apart. And even our culture, we're Mexican, they're Mexican. There's still some cultural differences because they're more traditional Mexican, we're Tex-Mex and whatnot, but just to still see the similarities. And when I listen to them, I feel a little bit like I'm at home listening to a conversation between a couple of my cousins.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I think it's a real family-centric, not family-friendly, like, hey, your kids should listen to it, although your kids probably could listen to it.
Because they're old.
But it's just kind of a fun, family-centric podcast that I really enjoy. And they interview some really interesting people, and they're kind of intent on focusing a positive spotlight on successful professional Hispanic people. And also it's very female centric too, since they're both women. So it's a lot of like inspiration for women as well.
And what's the name of that podcast again?
Super Mamas or Super Mamas.
I think Super Mamas, but
well, no. Just for any non-Spanish speaking people. If you don't know, mama means mama.
All right,
so that's it for our recommendations.
Yep.
All right, so I guess
that does it.
I guess we're over.
I think that's it. We went way over.
Did we?
I think so.
Well, no, there was some other stuff that happened before this.
No.
Well, now we're going over.
All right.
You got to help me with this one now, cuz, for real.
Now it's
time to say goodbye to the NumTwoPod podcast, and these cousins are gonna go and do something for the day, so they have something to talk about next time on the NumTwoPod podcast that you're listening to. Oh, Aunt Mary, I'm sorry I called you old. It's the NumTwoPod podcast, and we're signing off now. So, cousin, goodbye, and go write some fucking lyrics for this song. For this song, for this song is too long. For this song, for this song, for this song is too long. I like singing, but I'm running out of things to say every week when we record this top podcast. I'm running out of lyrics to keep making up on the spot. I'm not so good and I can't sing for shit, but I love it and I'm gonna live out my rock star dreams, and this is gonna hurt when I hit this note. I can't hit that note. Let me squeeze my weapons on the NumTwoPod. I'm joking. Come on, cuz you're supposed to help me out.
Good job, cuz. I was going to sing, like, stay tuned.
All right. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.
All right, cuz. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Okay. I'm hanging up now.
Yeah. Okay. Just hang up.
Okay.